Hello everyone and welcome back to Chronos Plays Phoenix Wright Ace Attorney. Today, apparently we're gonna watch the video again for like the 20th millionth time, but before that, let's go here and actually read these because I didn't last time. Incident number SL9, perpetrator Joe Dark, crime serial murder, sentence death. Victims Edward Jones, Jason Knight, Edith Kirby, Rachel's Moss, Jeb Bates, and Niall Marshall. Oh, okay. Like, Jake Marshall? So a relative of his. Brother, cousin, probably brother, right? Maybe father? Who knows? Head prosecutor Miles Edgeworth. Witnesses, Lana Sky, Emma Sky. Investigation Task Force, Executive Investigator Damon Gauntz, Lana Sky. Head investigators Bruce wait, what? Oh, okay, never mind. I was like, why do we have head investigators when we have executive head investigators? But Bruce Goodman was the head investigator, and then other investigators were Jake Marshall, okay, and Angel Starr. So if this dude, I don't know, like what happens when you have an investigator that could potentially investigate the crime of someone related to them or a loved one. I would figure that would be a no-no, right? Because human emotions could play a pact and say, well, play a part, not a pact, and maybe cause someone to, I don't know, find evidence where there's no evidence to make sure they get their relatives or loved one's murderer? Like plant evidence? I don't know, it just seems iffy to do that. But okay. I guess, yeah, let's go ahead and watch that goddamn video again. I don't have any evidence, so this video is my only shot. Dots. The judge was like, we have seen this video so many times now. Let's not actually watch it. But despite what I just said, let's take another look at the security tape. After committing the crime, the witness opened the locker to put away the white cloth. I'm assuming it's a code. Please show us why the witness. Okay. I mean, wasn't it bloody? Dude, fast forward, like seriously. Hey, Meekins, get in here and, like, get stabbed, dog. Yeah, okay, like, right there? Take that! For some reason, you disguise yourself as Detective Goodman and enter the evidence room, though I don't know to what end yet. However, something unexpected happened. Officer Meekins barged in on you. When asked to show your ID card, you pulled a knife on him. However, Officer Meekins panicked, and the white coat you were wearing was soiled with blood. A bloody white coat. You couldn't just walk out like that. So you hid the coat in your locker. Not bad, partner. Now then, Officer Marshall, are you ready to tell us the truth? Looks like I underestimated you all. I hope you're happy now, Mr. Edgeworth. It's like, I don't care. 2 years ago, if you were only half as persistent as you are today, we all wouldn't have to be here now would we? Officer Marshall, tell the court what you did, all of it. All right. It seems the time has come. Marshall's confessions. Or Marshall's confession. I had to do it that day. I couldn't just stand by and let it die. I stole the detective's ID and dressed like him. I planned to take out the evidence. I wasn't expecting Officer Meekins. I knocked him out and managed to escape. I knew which area wouldn't be caught on camera. There wasn't any murder in the evidence room at 5:15. So, the supposed victim was really you. But there's one thing I still don't understand. Traces of large quantity of blood were found on the floor of the evidence room. If no one was murdered, then how could that be? Officer Meekins managed to cut his own hand. My guess is he's the donor. It was way too much blood for such a small donation. I guess we're pressing. Alright. Where do you even buy these clothes? When you say it, you mean... Do you even have to ask, partner? The SL9 incident. 2 years have passed since that case was closed. It was going to completely end with the transfer to that day. Not if I have anything to do with it. That incident is not over. But what did you hope to accomplish by sneaking into the evidence room? When a case is closed, all the case's lead detectives can look through the evidence. I wanted to have a good look at it myself one more time. No matter what the cost. I don't care what anyone says, partner. That case is mine. But Officer Marshall wasn't in charge of that investigation. Why did he care so much about it? That day was my last chance. That's why I... Why did you disguise yourself as Detective Goodman? If I didn't make it look like Goodman was carrying out the evidence transfer, I'd be arrested for stealing evidence, which wouldn't get me anywhere. So you did it to fool the security camera? And the detective's badge. I stole that the morning of the incident. So that really was why Goodman started filing out the lost item report, or filling out. I returned his ID card. I left it on the floor in the prosecutor's parking lot. The ID card I found was left there by Officer Marshall. So essentially, you managed to succeed despite your lack of foresight. What do you mean, partner? I mean, the fingerprint-activated lock, of course. No matter how well you disguise yourself, you can't change your fingerprints. Under normal circumstances, you wouldn't have been able to open that locker. But he could, because of a rubber glove that just so happened to get stuck in the door. That means Detective Goodman must have opened the locker before Officer Marshall. I wasn't expecting yeah. Press! You pulled a knife on Officer Meekins and tried to drive him off. Let's just say I was a little surprised. I only planned on being in the evidence room for no more than 5 minutes. I didn't think anyone would actually come in during that time. Officer Meekins certainly is one in a million type of person. Mistaking a detective for an intruder and demanding to show his ID, to be shown his ID. I'll have to think a little more about his raise this year. When did Edgeworth get so much influence? Anyway, he threw himself at me and I ended up cutting him slightly. I'm sorry it had to turn out that way, with me knocking him out and everything. By the way, what happened to your knife? Oh, you mean this one? Dots, I don't know what to say. So you knocked Officer Meekins out and... Did we not confiscate, like, weapons when they came in here? I'm pretty sure that's standard procedure. Unless you're the active officer. Like, the courtroom officer. You're supposed to have, like, all your weapons taken away, right? I thought. Especially if you're a witness. So did you research before? So you did your research beforehand. Those who go into desert unprepared don't live long, partner. That's true. I didn't think it would make a difference, though. The security tape is erased every 6 hours. If all had gone as planned, no footage would have been left. However, you bloodied your coat in your struggle with Officer Meekins. If someone was in the security room when I came out, the jig would have been up. I opened my locker and stashed it in there. What was Officer Meekins doing during that time? What else? He was sleeping like a baby who had his head caved in. So, what you're saying is on that day... But the blood found at the scene certainly indicates a crime took place. What are you, blind? The victim shown on the tape is me, and I'm not dead yet, partner. So you stole the evidence from the locker? Actually, I know I didn't. Why not? When I opened the locker, the evidence was already gone. What? Mr. Edgeworth, where is that evidence? It's still missing, Your Honor. Detective Goodman's locker was already emptied. Someone else stole the evidence. Officer Marshall, may I ask you one thing? Fire away, partner. It's a free country. Just remember, I'm also free to decide whether or not to answer. I mean, you're kind of on trial right now, dog. Well, no. Well, yeah, kind of, I think. Why did you do it? Stealing a detective's ID and injuring a police officer, this is no small offense. Moreover, you're an officer yourself. This will have serious consequences. You can't just be forgiven with a simple cut in salary. Not that salary cuts are ever a valid solution. Like I said, this isn't your case. This one's mine. And I'll do anything it takes to get the answer I'm satisfied with. The witness has an unusual amount of zeal. Let's hear more. Sure? But that case was solved 2 years ago, wasn't it? That's the reason the evidence was stored in the evidence room. Joe Dark was convicted for his crimes. One thing I can say for sure is he deserved his sentence. I remember the Joe Dark case. It involved serial murders, did it? Didn't? I don't tend to complain about how it turned out, but there's something that still bothers me. Something went down at that trial. Something no one will talk about. What happened? I don't know. And that's what I'm trying to find out. Why is he so concerned with the incident? Maybe I should present him with what I think his real reason is? I had a feeling we'd wind up here sooner or later. Everyone involved here is related in some way to that case. I better take another look at the files. Oh, did we loop? Okay. So I'm assuming we have to show him the files then. But where? You know why. Is this why? Officer Marshall, I think I understand. I think I know why you care so much about the SL9 case. Sounds like you've been sipping too much cactus juice, partner. I have the SL9 incident filed here. The name, Marshall, is mentioned in here. And a list of murder victims. Niall Marshall, are you related to this man? Niall Marshall? Yeah, I'm sure you heard the name. 2 years ago. Oh, was that him? He received the same lousy prosecutor award you got. What? A prosecutor? You must be talking about the King of Prosecutors award. Now I remember, Prosecution Niles Marshall. He handled the SL9 case before I did. That's right, he was killed. And the case fell into your hands. But what's his relation to you? He was my brother. He was investigating the murders with Damon Gaunt, the then Deputy Chief of Police. Okay, so he's at the bottom left. You can barely see him. The group of detectives I was part of worked under them. We were just desperate to prosecute the killer. That Joe Dark? Joe Dark. My brother fought Dark and was killed. That was the first time Dark left behind any evidence. That's all we needed. He was arraigned and incarcerated. The case was finally closed. At least according to the public records. What do you mean? My brother couldn't have been killed by Joe Dark. I knew my brother better than anyone. No one could have beaten him in a fight. And that's it. That's your reason for your insane actions. There's more to my brother's death than what the records say. No matter how much you try to hide it, you can't fool me. Well, at least one thing's for certain. Now we know what happened at the police department on the day of his crime, or the crime. That was the last day the SL9 case could be reopened. Not satisfied with its resolution, Officer Marshall planned to steal the evidence. Disguising himself as Detective Goodman, he entered the evidence room. Officer Meekins confronted him, so he rendered him unconscious and fled. Yes, this mystery has finally been cleared up. No murder took place at the police department that day. The things that happened by chance never cease to amaze me. At exactly the same time as the murder of the prosecutors at the prosecutor's office, this fake murder was going on at the police department. Chance? It's gotta be more than just that. So, if no one was murdered at the police department on the day of the crime, that means the murder in the prosecutor's office parking lot was the real one. Which in turn means only one person could have committed the crime. Chief Prosecutor Lana Sky. But wait! There's more! A verdict wasn't reached in yesterday's trial. Which is why we examined the incident at the police department today. But there's only one reason the defendant was not convicted yesterday. There's yet remained the mystery of this simultaneous murder at the police department. It seems to me, the boys got the draw on you, partner. All of the mysteries of the police department has been solved. No doubt about it. Our sole murder took place at the police prosecutor's office. The only suspect is Lana Sky. And the testimony of one Miss Angel Star is completely incontestable. How? She lied constantly! What do you mean? If you have a response, make it a single word or less. Objection! Ah, that's not objection. I rest in my case. It seems the trial has reached its conclusion. There's no room for doubt. Well done, Mr. Wright. Thanks to you, I didn't need to waste my time disproving the alleged murder at the police department. Fade to black. There's no doubt about what I proved today is true. The apparent murder on the security camera's tape really was a fake, but I didn't realize that would wind up proving Lana guilty. I mean, I don't know how. Now then, the time for the verdict has arrived. The court finds the defendant. Objection! Come on. Hold it, okay. Oh, hi, Emma. Your Honor, wait! Emma, did you just German suplex Marshall? Where is he? The defense has an objection, a scientific objection, right? What do you mean, right? Mr. Wright, are you this girl's guardian? Your Honor? Oh, in a sense? When did I adopt her? Please, Your Honor, all I'm asking is for a minute of your time. Please hear me out. Miss Edwards, please. I don't want to leave any loose ends. If you want a minute, I'll give you 3. That's very generous of you. I was kind of in shock. I mean, finding out the SL9 incident referred to the Joe Dark killings. Now that she mentions it, the names of both Sky sisters were in that file. But that's when I figured it out. I mean, what Officer Marshall was trying to do that day, so I knew his fingerprint had nothing to do with the crime. That left only one thing, the other handprint. You mean the traces of blood found on Detective Goodman's shoes? Or locker. Gumshoes, not Goodman's, yeah. But no fingerprints were found on it, right? No, but I figured if I examined it scientifically, I'd be able to find a clue. So I ran over there and looked at it again. So, did you find something? No! Oh, Jesus Christ. Huh? So, sorry, I guess I'm not much of a scientific investigator after all. You wanna go stand under a waterfall? Is that all? Please don't be mad. I'm just a high school student. I know. I'm aware. What are you doing here? And I'm just an attorney. Barely. But Mr. Wright, those traces of blood are the only clue we have. If we can't find something wrong with them, please, Mr. Wright, you're a professional. Debatable. If anyone can save Lana, it's you. Me? Oh boy. Time's up. Now then, Mr. Wright. With regard to the incident at the police department, does any reasonable doubt remain? Yeah, because it's a video game. I already kind of think I knew the suspect in my head. It wasn't actually the marshal. I mean, I'm glad he's guilty of something. Hopefully he gets punished for it. But I think I've already mentioned that the suspicious-looking Got Man, right? See how he's trying to blame Edgeworth like everything too. It's like red flag, like red flag. It appears the defense is troubled by the other blood mark. Looks at the floor plans. A handprint was discovered around here. Is there a problem with this? Mr. Wright, I'm sorry it can't be of more use. But still, if you can't find anything wrong with the blood mark, Lana will be... Please answer my question, Mr. Wright. We don't have all day. We have all the time in the world, Your Honor. That is your real name. Yes, Your Honor. If I ever needed to concentrate, it's now. What could be wrong with that handprint on Detective Gumshoe's locker? Could there be something I'm missing? I object? I mean, I'm not gonna say there's no problem. Objection! The handprint left at the crime scene clearly shows a contradiction. The only thing that seems clear is you're grasping, Mr. Wright. You've been staring pretty intently at those floor plans. Tell me, is there a problem with them? Yes, this is strange. Take a good look at these floor plans. Something is missing. Missing? Means something hasn't been drawn there? Yeah, something that, when drawn, will completely change the meaning of that blood mark. Oh. I'm not gonna watch the goddamn video again, but wasn't this where the blue badger was? I refuse to watch that fucking video again, alright? We've seen it so many goddamn times. Let us pray the defense isn't simply trying to buy time. Very well, Mr. Wright. With all the evidence that's here, there's gotta be something I can use. The question is, which item can prove something is missing on the floor plan? I mean, it's gotta be, right? I'm pretty sure that's where it was. Hi, Marshall, welcome back. How's that concussion Emma gave you? What about that piece of plywood? The Blue Badger, mascot of the police force, defender of truth, guardian of proof. Explain yourself, Mr. Wright. Please look at the floor plans of the crime scene. The Blue Badger is not here. So watch what happens when we put him in. I actually thought you were going to play that goddamn video again. This is where he was dancing at the time of the crime. Well, what? Yeah, Edgy gets it. That's right. So long as the Blue Badger is dancing here, it would be impossible to place a handprint at this spot on the locker. What? Why are you shocked? So that means, exactly what does that mean? It means it can't be done! What are you saying? Blood traces were undeniably found on the locker. Don't look at me! I didn't put it there! Mr. Wright! I'm back in my seat! Think it through scientifically! Emma? On that afternoon, Officer Meekins was the one who brought the Blue Badger to the evidence room, right? After you put it down, it would be impossible to leave a handprint on the locker. So that means this blood mark was left there before the Blue Badger was brought in. Just one moment. I will not allow such far-fetched blabberdash in my courtroom. Oh, really? Really, Judge? Where the fuck were you on the other, like, far-fetched bullshit that's happened in this courtroom? Oh my god. Oh, you Mr. Clean-looking Santa Claus. God. It may sound far-fetched, Your Honor, but it's no Pokemon. But it's the only possible explanation. On February 21st, in the police department's evidence room, blood was spilled not once, but twice. But how? One time was captured on this tape, taken by the security camera. Oh, hi video! Officer Meekins cut his hand, from which a trivial amount of blood fell. The problem is, the other time. Someone bled prior to the struggle shown on this tape. It had to have been Detective Goodman when he was really murdered. That's ridiculous. I refuse to accept your absurd claim. Too bad, Edgy! The murder portrayed in the security tape has been proven to be a fake. However, that does not explain the blood mark found on the locker. So then, assuming this murder you purport really happened, when did it take place? I demand you show evidence that proves when it occurred. When did the... Oh! I know! I think. To summarize, the defense claims that prior to Officer Meekins being cut by Jake Marshall, who was posing as Detective Goodman, another incident took place in that evidence room. That's right, the blood marker on the locker proves this. Very well, then tell us. When did this first incident occur? As Mr. Edgeworth said, proof must be presented. Proof that shows when the murder took place. There's only one piece of evidence that could show that. Now then, will the defense please present the evidence? What shows when the first crime took place? Oh! Check! Shit! I for some reason, I mixed up Meekins. Well, there goes my bravado. I actually thought Goodman's ID card was shown here twice. Okay. I mean, we still don't know who the first one was. That could be belong to, like, the real murderer, even though Lana confessed. Yeah, I guess present it. Because I was so sure it was Goodman's... Ah, man. If the crime took place inside the evidence room, then the killer would have had to enter it. And in order to do this, an ID card would have been required. An ID card. Oh! The ID card record. Officer Meekins brought the Blue Badger panel into the evidence room at... Let's see... 4:50 p.m. If the crime took place before that, then it would be 4:40. Oh, edgy boy. Ah. My Corona. What have you done? I never would have figured you had the nerve, boy. Drop the act, witness. It doesn't take a lot of thought to figure out it couldn't have been me. Nope, I ain't getting it. I'm afraid I don't understand either. It's clear from the luminol test the blood was there. However, when the second crime took place, both Officer Meekins and Officer Marshall failed to notice the blood. That means the blood from the first crime was wiped away by the real murderer. I would have had just 10 minutes to murder the victim, carry his body away, and clean up the blood. Unfortunately, that's physically impossible. That would mean the crime must have taken place before Mr. Edgeworth entered the evidence room. It looks like the chart. Let's look at the chart again. There's only one other card number remaining. 7s. Talk about a lucky number. But wait, that doesn't make sense. How could Detective Goodman have entered the evidence room? Since there's no record of his card being used beforehand, he must have entered along with the real murderer. That's the only plausible explanation. He went in with stripped, like, what is it? I don't even know how many 7s this is. That's 7 7s? It is 7 7s. Mr. Edgeworth, please look into this ASAP. Find out whose ID number is 777. Yes. That's 1 7 too many, Your Honor. Unfortunately, I'm not able to look up the owner of that ID card. At least, at present. What? Explain yourself, son. The ID number 7s belong to someone with a higher rank of captain or, belongs to someone with a rank of captain or higher. Someone who is a so-called executive officer. We don't have the authority to inquire into such a person's identity. Subpoena it! But that's ridiculous. Just how? I'm not finished talking, Mr. Wright. There's one situation in which we can be granted such authority. It's if official charge filed against the executive is accepted. An official charge? Y'all like, aren't you? With your cover-ups and your forgeries. That's how the prosecutor's office operates. I take pride in my work, Officer Marshall. I would appreciate if you would keep your slander to yourself. Slander, is it? Okay. Let me ask a question. Yes? No, not you. To her, the defendant sitting over there. Your own little executive. Lana? Don't be stupid. She's been charged with murder. Of course we've looked up her ID number, and it's not sevens. Don't play me for a fool, partner. That's not what I want to ask. All I want to know is one thing about that incident. The SL9 incident. Answer me this, Chief Prosecutor. In that trial 2 years ago, did you really only use legitimate evidence? Do you need the witness to repeat his question, Chief Prosecutor? I heard him fine, Mr. Edgeworth. 2 years ago, I was in charge of the prosecution for the trial. And at the time occasionally, we felt the powerlessness of the law. At least, I did. Lana? I became a prosecutor in order to suppress crime with the law. But before I realized it, we were the ones being suppressed by the law. Defendant, just what are you saying? I'll ask again, Chief Prosecutor. During that trial 2 years ago, did you really present all the evidence in court? Can you look me, an investigator in that crime, in the eye and say that you did? Chief Prosecutor, you didn't. How do you two keep swapping? I don't have to, Officer Marshall. Why won't you answer him? Drastic crimes require drastic measures. That's just the way it is. We did what we had to, in order for him to get the verdict he deserved. But Lana! Even if it involved forging evidence. Mr. Clean, Mr. See? That's what I'm talking about. No. No! Order! 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 Where's that lunch lady? Lana's remark caused such a stir. The chaos in the courtroom could not be quelled. Okay, would have to wait until the following day. Probably the conclusion of the trial would have to wait till the following day. To be continued. Fun times. Alright, well, that's it for this episode. Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed the episode, press like below. If you're not subscribed yet, want to get my videos so I can check out some of the content, see if it's what you like. And once again, thank you for watching. Hope you all have a great day.